What's up, everybody? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. Today we're talking about ectopic pregnancies. We experienced one back in 2016, and it was probably the worst experience that we had as newlyweds. And today, we just want to shine some light on it, just in case there's anybody out there going through it. We kind of want to, share our experience.
Yeah. So basically, we got married in 2014, and we ended up having a wedding ceremony, in 2016. And our thing was always, be married for 2 years before we started having children. And we did that. So in 2016, that's when we decided to start trying. I quit my job, and we were actively trying to get pregnant.
It was a good life. It was a good life.
And it didn't take long. It took probably about a few months until we were able to get pregnant. But I don't know about you, but for me, it was like when we didn't get pregnant the first month, and then the second month, it was kind of like, oh my gosh, what's wrong? Like in my head, it was always like, you get pregnant so easy when
A, B, C.
Right.
Period.
Yeah, and it didn't go that way. But even though, looking back now, I'm a little more wise. In 3 months, 4 months, that's pretty quick when you're trying to get pregnant. So we were very grateful. We were so excited. I remember, I think I cried, we just held each other, just so happy and so joyful in that moment, and couldn't wait to tell people. I couldn't wait to tell my sister. It was just such a beautiful moment because we were so ready to start a family.
I was ready for my little boy, man. I was ready for him to be here already. God has spoke to me, your boy gonna be coming soon. So I'm like, cool, send him.
So, we do the normal things. Schedule a doctor's appointment, confirm the pregnancy, all that stuff, all the things that we knew as first time, going to be first time parents. But there was a lot of stuff that began happening with me, that I obviously told Jeremy that was going on. But we didn't have any idea what pregnancy looked like, the expectations.
No clue.
I felt like I was so naive to being pregnant that there were so many things that were occurring that now it's like red flag, there's a problem. Mm-hmm. And one of those problems was me bleeding. I started bleeding very early on, and I think we were only 6 weeks pregnant at that point. It didn't take long after finding out we were pregnant, and then some days later, I started spotting a little, and basically at that initial doctor's appointment, I was telling her everything that was going on. And she was she made it seem like everything was fine because she was asking me certain questions, bright red, or, and I was saying it was on the darker side. And so she was like, oh, it's dried, it's old blood. That was what she said. It's old blood. So it made me and Jeremy think everything was fine, and this is my naiveness going forward when it came down to what was actually going on with my body. Yeah, so I started having heavy cramping like that. It was very, very painful, and I'm used to having painful menstrual cycles. I have a high pain tolerance, so for me it was kind of maybe this is normal, maybe this is part of pregnancy, and so I just dealt with it, and this is the naiveness that was going on with the both of us, because I was going through all of this, but at the same time, we were surprising our parents with, you know what I mean? With the pregnancy, I surprised my sisters. We were telling everybody was all excited, first grandchild to enter the family. Yeah. So it was a big deal. And,
it was a big deal for us. It was our special moment. We had been married for 2 years, like you said, and, finally,
Let me go give her something. So where were we?
For us, we're excited. We want to tell the world, we want to tell all of our friends and family, we're finally having a child. Going back to our past, we have been together since 15 years old. So for most people, they're about time, So it was just something that we were very excited to do.
There was one day, I probably was 7 weeks at this point, maybe 7.5 weeks. I can't remember exactly, but I remember laying on the couch having so much cramping pain, but not any cramping pain. Like this was excruciating pain. Like to the point where I called my sister to come over because like I was in so much pain. Like I just knew at that point something was wrong. And when I say pain, this was the worst pain I had ever been in my life. Like to this day, it was like up there with giving birth. Like, and I've given birth naturally, no epidural, with 2 out of my 3. And that pain was insane pain.
But you didn't just have that pain for one day, right?
No, I was having pain.
Yeah,
I was having cramping pain.
I remember you sucking it up basically, and you finally just gave into it. Like I need to go.
It was that day that was awful. It was awful, and that's when I was saying like something's wrong, especially because my bleeding had increased. Like it like fluctuated. It was like really, it was kind of like just spotting, and then it increased, and then it completely stopped, and then it started back up again. And so that to me was like, something has to be wrong. My sister, I called my sister, she came, took me to the hospital. You know, they saw how much pain I was in, they learned I was pregnant, and they took me back in there. But I felt like this whole process took so long. And then at that point, you know, we told Jeremy what was going on, and so he left work and came to the hospital. But when they admitted me and they were like checking everything, I remember getting an ultrasound. And at that point, you know, being so early, 7 weeks, they had to do they had to insert.
Correct. Yeah, they basically had to go inside to actually examine her.
Right, vaginally, a vaginal ultrasound.
Correct.
And mind you, I was in so much pain, and I remember feeling like this lady was stabbing my insides because she was trying to see what was going on, you know. And like she was very sweet, but she was like trying to talk me through the pain, and like, you know, and at this point, like I'm bleeding a lot, you know, and I couldn't walk. Like it was really, really bad. And they were, you know, pushing me on a wheelchair throughout the aisles and from room to room and whatever. And so as I was waiting there, I remember laying on the bed, my family was in the room. Like I just felt like everything was a blur, honestly, at this point when, you know, they were checking me out and everything. But like the one thing I do remember was when my doctor like stood over me and she started telling me what was going on. And she was saying, I'm having an ectopic pregnancy. And she explained to me what it was, and I already knew what that was just because I had watched like a documentary series about ectopic pregnancies, and it just seemed so far-fetched.
I said, why?
Because I don't know, I just watch documentaries, but
for me, I had no clue. Like she's like, oh, ectopic pregnancy, why? Okay, like what does that mean? You know what I mean? And then once she broke it down, it was kind of like
yeah.
Dang.
And if you don't know what an ectopic pregnancy is, it's basically when the egg implants outside of the uterus. Right, outside of the uterus, whether that be in the fallopian tube, just implants in areas that it should not implant.
Correct.
And for me, it implanted in one of my fallopian tubes. And what was happening was basically the baby was growing and getting bigger inside of my fallopian tube, which made my entire fallopian tube rupture. And a lot of times, some women will catch it before and then they could repair the fallopian tube. But for me, it was completely ruptured that they had to remove my fallopian tube. And that's why I was like bleeding so much more at that point, because
that's why the pain got so much worse.
And I was literally bleeding internally. And the lady that I remember, the doctor telling me like if I didn't come in sooner, I would have needed like a blood transfusion, and I could have ultimately lost my life from an ectopic pregnancy. And I just remember feeling so sad. Like aside from what could have happened to me, like that wasn't even anything that I considered at that point. But like I remember feeling like, but wait, I understand my fallopian tube is ruptured or whatever, but it's like, what about the baby?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like that was in my head. Like, can't you just put the baby where she should be or where he should be? Like I remember feeling so like
confused,
hurt, like just feeling like I was completely blindsided. Like I just felt so hurt, and I feel like this is the first time like I've talked about this since, you know, being in that season. And like I mean, I didn't think I would get emotional, but it was just like a really hard time. And I remember it was like right before Christmas, and I remember buying like a little stocking, because it was, you know, I had one for my dog and then I had one for our new baby, and it was like a little tiny stocking. And like I just remember like after my surgery, and that was another thing, I had to have, you know, emergency surgery, and it was just so much,
like right away, like
yeah,
surgery,
it was like
right now.
I go from being at home one day thinking everything's fine and I was just cramping because I was pregnant, to now no longer being pregnant and then having to have an emergency surgery. And like it was just like shattering. Like everything that I felt was about to be was completely shattered. And like it just really hurt my feelings. Like I was so sad. I remember being so sad. And it was right during Christmas time, and I just was like no longer in the Christmas spirit. I just felt like,
I believe we told our parents on Thanksgiving that we were pregnant, and I say, well, within a month, so the next month is when all this, you know, happened. And for me, I mean, I didn't know anything about ectopic pregnancies. I mean, again, in my head, it's A, B, and C. You know what I'm saying? It's simple. You do your thing, you make a baby. So all these other technicalities and medical stuff that can happen, and especially when the doctor comes in and is talking about, you know, oh, she could have died and this and that. It's like whoa, you know. And then they talk about the fallopian tube being ruptured, and you know, so I'm like, okay, so we can't have a baby now. So for me, it was just a lot going through my mind. Mind you, I was at work, so I have to drive 50 something miles to get to where she's at, and my mind is just racing. And so I get there, and I have to, you know, deal with all this, and I have to call back to my job and let my job know, hey, what's going on? And I'm trying to keep it all together, talking to you know, my coworkers or my supervisor. And then obviously being strong for her and for our situation, for our family, it was a lot going on.
Yeah, like I feel like it took me so long to heal from that. And I mean, as you can see, like it still makes me emotional because I felt so connected to that first pregnancy. Like I felt like I had a name already picked out. Like I felt in my soul it was gonna be a boy. So it was like I tied this name that I had chosen for this boy, and like I felt like that all of that left. And it was like, it's so hard to explain too, but it's like I felt like I knew that 7-week-old that was growing inside of me, but it's like I had no idea who that person was, or you know, but it's like I just felt so connected. And to have that just ripped away was the hardest thing ever.
And then I mean, if you really think about it, going back and thinking about all this stuff, how you basically said that you felt like it was a boy, and then the fact that we don't have any boys, it's like, dang,
yeah,
you know, that could have been our boy, you know what I mean? But I mean, at the end of the day, we're still grateful for what we do have and for our family. And you know, during the whole process, we're leaning on God and trusting Him to get us through. Like I said, it was a very bad season for us, and as things continued on, it got a little easier, but we had some more rough patches.
Oh, it didn't get easier.
It got. I mean, obviously, we didn't have another situation like that. That's what I mean.
Yeah, we didn't have any life scares,
but we definitely struggled.
Yeah,
and we're gonna talk about that later on in other videos. But
our journey to conceive didn't end there. Like it wasn't like right after that ectopic, we had 3 beautiful girls. Like there was a season, you know, of loss after that. So, and that's something that I would love to share, but for the sake of time, I feel like we'll end it here. But if you guys want to hear, you know, more about our pregnancy journey before having kids, comment below and let us know that, you know, you want to hear the continuation.
Yeah. Or if you have a story that you want to share below, or maybe you've been through this, or maybe you have some words of encouragement for others that may be going through this, you know, comment that below as well. And for those that are going through this, that are actively in this season, you know, we just pray for you guys, and just know that, you know, for us, God made a way. Yeah. Even with one fallopian tube, He made a way.
Yeah.
And you know, it wasn't easy. It wasn't at all. And, you know, I kind of wish that we had this platform back then for us to share our journey during that season. But, you know, now that we do have it, we definitely want to be a vessel to somebody else that may need the encouragement or need the information. So, like I said, we're praying with you guys and just keep holding on and keep trying. And
yeah, don't lose hope.
Don't lose your faith.
Hope. Yeah, there's a time for everything, and sometimes during that season of loss is when God wants you to discover something, you know, within yourself. I think we're gonna end it here and try to get back happy, because this got me in my feelings and I don't want to be in my feelings.
But anyways, thank you guys again for watching us, man. We really appreciate you guys. We're on this journey of just growing and, you know, just trying to be a light to this world. So if you like what you see, share with your family, share with your friends. You never know who might take something from our videos.
Nothing. Bye, y'all.